Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me for the segment, we have Tommy Tranfo, head of community at Stocktwits, to discuss if retail investors are still betting on Bitcoin. Tommy, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Thanks for the invite, Jill. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's talk about the performance of Bitcoin. It seems to have found its range and fundamentals are somewhat decent here.
Yeah, I think really before we start talking about the price action, it's important to understand, what does the community think Bitcoin is? There's very little consensus as to the very specifics of what it is. Is it a store of value? Is it a payment, networks? There's very little consensus as far as, that granularity is concerned. But there is major consensus around kind of a high level idea as to what Bitcoin is. And that is that it's a tech asset. And given that the community evaluates Bitcoin through the lens of a tech asset, well, then it begs to understand and make sense of the fact that, when the Nasdaq is up 45% year to date, you can start to draw some conclusions as to how, the asset, Bitcoin, through the lens of, being a tech asset, could share in that price appreciation.
Well, we've had some regulatory announcements over the past couple of weeks, particularly SEC versus Ripple. How has Bitcoin reacted to that?
Yeah, right before we hopped on, Jill, Gary Gensler was on the media and some headlines were being drawn. He called crypto a space full of, fraud and hucksters, and that, the crypto sector is an incredibly speculative asset. Well, what else that definition fits? The tech sector. Does Adam Newman or Elizabeth Holmes ring any bell? That's also a place that, is ripe with fraud and hucksters. And, tech is also a speculative asset. And so a lot of the characteristics that, people like Gensler want to apply to the Bitcoin is shared across the entirety of the tech sector. And so the community really feels like Bitcoin should be treated similarly to any other tech asset on the market.
So it sounds like within the Stocktwits community, there's not much worry there. I mean, we saw the decline to 29,000, but we're not. I mean, it's been quite some time since we've seen Bitcoin not trade out of its range, whether it's just to one side or the other. It seems to be 30,000 is that sweet spot.
One of the great things about being a participant of the markets is that price at the end of the day is the arbiter of truth. And so ultimately, given the price of Bitcoin being where it is, that says it all.
All right, Tommy, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.